Recordings on. Let's start. So it's 10:28. Till about 11:15, we shall be completing the following three formats: Airprox, Microburst, and Windshear report. Okay. So air reports. Okay. Air reports. What do you mean by reports? Reports means that anything that has to do with you mentioning, okay, this thing happened at this time, this thing happened at this time. It's a report. Whenever you say you're reporting something, you're giving them the time. Okay, this thing happened at this time. This thing happened is okay, it happened. But when you add time to it, it becomes a report. Under this, so you, let's say in the aircraft, you had an aircraft proximity. Proximity means closeness. Proximity means closeness. Let's say you were dangerously or you were close to an aircraft, and there was undeniable statement that कि भाई हाँ collision हो सकता था or your safety had been compromised. Then in that case you can file a aircraft proximity report when you're on ground. You have a very big form for an Airprox report, but you can also file an Airprox report in the air as well. In the air as well. Okay. So first things first, we are going to be doing the Airprox reports. So let's start. Airprox means aircraft proximity. How close is too close? How close is too close? Do you know something about the lateral, longitudinal, and vertical separation minima? Yes, we have three separation minima. One is the longitudinal separation minima, कि एक जहाज दूसरे जहाज के कितना पीछे हो सकता है, which is the longitudinal separation minima. Ujjwal, get some water. Get some water. Okay. What is longitudinal separation minima? One aircraft behind the other, how close can it be? That's the longitudinal separation minima. What is the longitudinal separation minima, guys? Tell me. When there is no nav aid being used, simple.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. When there's nothing. When there's nothing. When you're using the same nav aid, it becomes 10 minutes. When the guy ahead of you is faster by 20 knots, 5 minutes. When he is faster than you by 40 knots, it's 3 minutes. Right? This is called the longitudinal separation minima. But now let's say you're doing normal route flying, you both are on the same route, on the same track at the same speed. Ashiram, get some water. What is the longitudinal separation minima? 10 minutes. Now these are all time-based separations. There are distance-based separations as well. Okay. When you have radar coverage or when you have ADSB, better surveillance systems, you can make the aircrafts come even more closer to each other. When radar systems comes in, when there's surveillance radars available, when there are DMEs available, this separation minima can get even reduced. Why? Because then distance-based separation minima applies. Then distance-based separation minima applies. This is about longitudinal separation. Talking about lateral separation, we have a station. Now, what is the worst kind of a station? A dead reckoning fix. A dead reckoning fix. What is a dead reckoning fix? Basically, a pond, a mountain, a airport, a DR fix. DR means flying with respect to dead points. Points which don't actually exist. Right? So let's say you have an airport and my guy, my ATC, he has to give me separation. So let's say if Vedant is on this radial at 15 and this is always calculated, the lateral separation or the side by side separation is always calculated at a 15 nautical mile range. Okay, at a 15 nautical mile range. If Vedant is 15 nautical miles away on so and so bearing, and if he is referring his position to a aerodrome without any navigation, okay, it's a dead reckoning fix. It's a visual waypoint, let's say. तो यहाँ पर ये जो दूसरा बंदा है ना, he can only be 45 degrees away and 15 nautical miles. If any of these two things get breached, so now everyone knows 15 nautical miles, 45 degrees. Everyone knows 15 nautical miles, 45 degrees. Vedant, get some water, please. Move अगर दो के आ जाओ, ठीक है? Okay, let's resume. So हम लोगों को everyone knows it's 15 nautical miles, 45 degrees. But what does this actually mean? This means that कि if you both are 15 nautical miles away, you have to be separated by 45 degrees of radials or bearings. If you are closer than that, that means the separation minima has been reduced. The separation you have, आपने उसको भेद दिया है. You should be more separated. You're going below the separation minima, and that is not acceptable. Also, again, if both the guys are at a closer range, not 15 nautical miles below that, and they are 45 degrees apart, then also it's a problem. Both need to be there. Okay. So now, but if this becomes a more precise navigation aid like the NDB, this separation minima can be reduced to 30 degrees. That means earlier in a full 360 degree, I could accommodate 8 aircrafts on the same level. But now, with the help of an NDB, I can accommodate how many? 12 aircrafts. 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. तेजस को भी नींद आ रही है. क्या होगा? Now, let's say I make this a VOR. Then this becomes 15 nautical miles, 15 degrees. What does this mean? This means that in a complete radius of 15 nautical miles, I can have aircrafts separated by 15 degrees interval. So that means in 15 nautical miles vicinity, I can hold 24 aircrafts. Actually 25, because one I can hold over it also. 15 nautical mile radius, 25 aircrafts. Imagine. Same level. In one fucking level. और ऐसे कितने level हो सकते हैं? How beautiful are these navigation aids? You see this? How beautiful is the separation? We think 15 degrees is like way less, right? It is like we can reduce the separation even further, but we don't need it. Even the MSA is calculated for 25 nautical mile radius. Within 15 nautical miles, you're getting this much, traffic that you can handle. So, why am I teaching you about separation minimas? Why am I teaching you about separation minima? Because whenever an aircraft comes closer to you than by the separation minima, you call it an aircraft proximity. The aircraft is either dangerously close to you that means the distance between you and him is lesser than 5 nautical miles, or the aircraft is greater than 5 nautical miles away, more than 5 nautical miles away, but less than the separation minima that is advised. So let's say the separation minima told you guys to be 10 nautical miles away, but you guys are 8 nautical miles away. The separation minima told you guys to be 30 radials apart or 15 radials apart, but you are 12 radials apart. That is another case. And any other case. So, whenever you are dangerously close, the type of Airprox report shall be risk of collision. It shall be called risk of collision. When they are more than 5 nautical miles but less than the separation minima, you have to tell them safety not assured. Anything else, risk not determined. Now let's go to the format. Anyone here who listens to Hindi songs? Shriram Palak.
Sometimes.
Shriram, no, right?
Kabira and a few other songs.
Daddy listens to it.
Sorry?
Does your father listen to it?
No.
Okay. Old songs. Ujjwal. Has anyone come across this song? ये क्या हुआ कैसे हुआ? Right? We have all come across this song, right? Yeah. You need to remember that song. Need to remember that song for the purpose of this format. Okay.
लेकिन एग्जाम गा के थोड़ी याद करेंगे.
अरे मैं गाता हूँ भाई, गाना है बढ़िया, इससे बढ़िया फॉर्मेट है ही नहीं, एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करता. सो व्हाट इज दिस? एयरक्राफ्ट प्रॉक्सिमिटी. कोई भी चीज की आप रिपोर्ट दे रहे हो ना, क्वेश्चन में क्या होगा? क्वेश्चन में a lot of data will be given to you. Okay, you are at this position and all of these things happen to you, and a very clear depiction will be made in very clear words, and everything will be given to you in your question paper. You just have to put it in the format and make a call. I'll explain. The format goes like whom, who, and the type of report, time of observation, and then you tell him ये क्या हुआ. कैसे हुआ, क्या किया, कहाँ हुआ. जिसमें से क्या हुआ कैसे हुआ क्वेश्चन पेपर में दिया हुआ रहेगा. 90% ऑफ द टाइम आप क्या कुछ नहीं करोगे. एयरप्रॉक्स में तो आप कुछ नहीं करोगे, ठीक है, फॉलो करोगे शायद तक, ठीक है. देन यू गिव हिम कहाँ हुआ. दैट्स इट. एनी डाउट्स? नो. Great.
Sir, I had to confirm one thing.
Yeah.
Just like our other exams, will we be allowed to take our pens and everything with us? After they'll only give us sheets and pens and everything.
I'll give you a very nice briefing about that before your exam. Don't worry.
Okay.
अरे वो दिखाओ ना वो लिरिक्स. अरे सॉरी फॉर्मेट.
करवा रहा हूँ भाई.
ये वाले नोट्स भेज देना एक बार ग्रुप पे.
ठीक है, भेज दूंगा.
Oh, don't you mention the frequency?
You can. Not a big deal. अच्छा, ये वही है क्या? एक सेकंड.
Sir, could you do one favor, please? I know you've already
Could you do
done it.
one?
Could you do me a favor?
Tell me.
You've already done it, but एक बार आपने जो भी जितने भी notes है that you've taught us with and that you've given us examples for, please leave it in the group together.
Together works. I'll do it. ठीक है. Just remind me when I'm about to end the class. I'll do it then. Works. Just I'll remember it.
Sure,
that way.
sir. Okay.
Okay. So this is the format. Everyone has written down the format. Okay, you can get like really, really weird questions. You can get really, really weird questions. I'll just give you a heads up and I'll give you the entire format once. So this is a brief kind of a format for all the different types of reports, but now specifically for the purpose of Airprox. Now specifically for the purpose of Airprox. You're gonna tell him whom, who, on, dash 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 decimal dash dash. Airprox. Then over here you're gonna tell him either of these two things, this or this. So let's say risk of collision. Time of observation, time of incident, or time of observation. 0955, let's say something like this. Okay. Over here, somewhere you have to also write whether you are in visual met conditions or in instrument meteorological conditions. Okay. If in the question, write it over here. Okay. I'll give you the exact placement in a few minutes. IMC or VMC, whichever one. So this has to be filled in. This has to be filled in. This has to be filled in. Okay. Whatever is the fill in the blanks, I'm highlighting it right now. Okay. IMC or VMC. So if in the question it says you spot on your left wing an Indian Air Force fighter jet, swiftly overtake you from the left and cross your flight path and take a steep turn right towards Gaya. Then you can see him. Right? So please mention VMC here. If in the question it says you are passing through clouds. If in the question it says you are passing through clouds, please say the word IMC. You monitor on radio. You monitor an aircraft on radio. So let's say in the exam, some question will be given to you, some position will be given to you. You are on this radial, this many miles out. Another aircraft reports on this radial, this many miles out, or in passing same level, something like this. Then you need to realize, okay, he's like really, really close to me. This is an Airprox report. Cool. Then you tell him the exact thing, what happened, as it is written in the question paper. Just copy paste the lines in aviation words. What happened? Then where did it happen? Okay. Written it down. Last
इसमें अपन ने क्या किया?
task something. आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, आपके साथ एक घटना घटी, आप उसको रिपोर्ट कर, खत्म। एक बंदा आया बहुत डेंजरसली क्लोज था आपके, आप उसको बोल रहे हो तो क्या कर रहा है, काम नहीं कर रहा है अपना, एटीसी है तू, सिर्फ बस तेरा काम है सेपरेशन देना, क्या कर रहा है? बिकॉज अगर मैंने रिपोर्ट फाइल नहीं की तो मेरी जॉब जाएगी। Okay, let's have an example. Write down an Indian Air Force fighter jet. Position 50 nautical miles inbound, November, November, Papa, Golf 450. 50 inbound, November, November, Papa, Golf 450. Write it down, Palak.
Say again, please.
50 nautical miles inbound, November, November, Papa, Golf 450. Flight level 350. An Indian Air Force fighter jet, an IAF, Indian Air Force, IAF fighter jet, an Indian Air Force fighter jet crosses you from left, overtakes you from left, above your left wing, या फिर in close vicinity, something like that is mentioned, crosses your flight and takes a left steep turn towards Gaya. Take action. The answer is Nagpur Control. Write down the call. Nagpur Control. Victor Tango Alpha Bravo Charlie. On whatever the Nagpur's frequency is. Let's say 12.55. Let's VMC. Say VMC. Why VMC? Because you can see him. VMC. Airprox risk of collision. Airprox risk of collision (1015). Time of incident 1015.
We have to say the time of incident, right? Also.
Yes. TOI 1015. Spotted an Indian Air Force fighter jet. Spotted an Indian Air Force fighter jet. Overtake from left. At 1 nautical mile range. At 1 nautical mile range. क्या हो गया पलक?
1 nautical mile is too close.
अरे कुछ भी हाइपोथेटिकल बना ले, 2 बना ले, 3 बना ले, इंटरसेप्ट करेगा तो इज गोना बी अ फ्यू फीट क्लोज टू यू।
ये पेपर में था क्वेश्चन आपने जो भेजा था ना।
अच्छा सही है भाई, वो उसमें गया वाला था और उसमें रोमी 560 था शायद तक, पता नहीं। ठीक है, एट 1 nautical mile range, same level, and take a steep turn left to Gaya. And take a steep turn left towards Gaya. V Victor Echo Golf Yankee. Position. Write down your position and give him task 300 knots. Position 50 nautical miles inbound, November, Papa Golf 50, flight level 350, task 300 knots. ATC will reply, Victor Tango Alpha Bravo Charlie, Roger, Airprox. There is another paper, Khajuraho departure, going to Delhi or Panchnagar, somewhere, okay? There's another paper, Khajuraho departure. Over there, they'll tell you, oh, you are taking off and you are going towards Lucknow, Whiskey Power 0, and you're going outbound on radial 020. You monitor a helicopter, you're passing through clouds and you monitor a helicopter on 4,000 feet coming inbound on radial 030. That is also an Airprox call. Why? Because less than 15 nautical mile separation. Over there, you will say INC, Airprox, risk of collision. No, you will not say risk of collision. You will say safety not assured because he is well clear from you. You are in a radar environment, but it's lesser than the actual visuals. It is lesser than the required separation minimum, and you cannot see each other. So either it is safety not assured or risk not determined. Here I can call it safety not assured because I know very well that it is less than the separation minimum. So, risk Airprox, safety not assured. Time of incident 1020. Monitored on radio helicopter 123. Cross radial 030. Same cross radial 030 at same level at 8 nautical miles range. Okay? Something like that. Any doubts?
Shouldn't we end this call with the task?
Yeah, and task 300 knots. Of course. Give your position and then the tasks. Mark my words, this is not the actual format. This is the format which works for the purpose of RTR exam. If you open the AIP of India, there's a completely different format that is used. As per the Indian government, the format is something else, but this is the format which works for the purpose of RTR exams, unfortunately. तो हाँ शेरावत सर गलत पढ़ाते थोड़ा सा बट वो चल जाता है एग्जाम में मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ एआईपी खोल के दिखा दूंगा मैं फॉर्मेट अलग है इट्स वेरी क्लियरली रिटन एनी डाउट्स whatsoever no okay so now you have done the Airprox call. Now let's give you the microburst and the Windshear. Let's talk about Windshear first. Let's say Windshear you can be told at three places. Firstly, you can be told that you have a Windshear on the approach path, or you can experience a Windshear on the approach path, basically finals. What is finals for the non-flyers? This is the runway you're about to land. This is the finals. For an instrument approach, the final is a very, very long thing. For a visual circuit, it is a very, very short thing. Okay, if you're at 4 nautical miles range, anything below 4 nautical miles is called short finals. Anything beyond 4 nautical miles is called long finals. If you're just on the runway and you're about to land, you will tell him my position is on finals runway. Whatever. Okay. Approach path, you can have Windshear. Takeoff path, you can have Windshear. Lastly, you can have it when you're on the taxiway. And you ATC reports Windshear. What will you do? What will you do?
Taxi back to the apron.
Yes. Why? Because Windshear is something that it's okay. Windshear is something that can happen for like a really, really long time. It can be stagnated there. Microburst, yes, you can wait. Microburst, you can wait. Microburst is a short-lived phenomena. What will be your actions if you encounter Windshear on the approach path?
होगा
Taxi back to
Tell me.
Missed approach.
Palak, approach path.
sorry.
Missed approach.
I can't see you guys. Stand by. There's some problem with my network. Seems. Yeah, now I can see you. Tell me.
I'm saying missed approach.
Yes. So first you're gonna say I'm gonna go around, and let's say if you're doing visual flying, you will go into a circuit. If you're doing visual flying, make a visual circuit. And if you're doing instrument flying or you're a part of an instrument approach procedure, what are you going to do? You're gonna commence missed approach procedure. Initiate missed approach procedure. Okay. What can you do if you're on the takeoff path? Deviate left or right by 15 degrees. Okay. So let's say you are on the approach path or on the takeoff path. I'll give you the format first.
विजुअल के आगे क्या लिखा है आपने?
So,
वो
left.
Circuit, visual circuit. Yes, Palak.
So deviate 15 degrees left or right and then cancel this thing.
Cancel the
Takeoff. Like, are we on the takeoff roll right now or just the
path. Path. Takeoff segments khatam uske baad path. Okay. Write down the format. Whom, who, on, dash, 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 decimal, dash, dash. Windshear report. Intensity. Light, moderate, heavy. Light, moderate, heavy. Anything. Light, moderate, heavy. Time of observation. Dot, 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 dot. 4 dashes. Then you give them a description of the wind shear. Winds changing from left to right. Severe updrafts and downdrafts. Something like that you give them. Okay? क्या हुआ? Whatever is given to you in the question paper. If nothing is given to you in the question paper, okay, tell them winds are changing from left or right or severe updrafts and downdrafts. Something like that you give. क्या नाम है इसका? Yeah. Now you're gonna tell them कहाँ हुआ. Wait, one more thing you're gonna tell them. ये क्या हुआ? Which came first? क्या हुआ came first? हाँ, क्या किया? And कहाँ हुआ? So I'll give you an example. Let's say, and all of these things now they happen like really close to the ground. So wind shear, all of these things they happen really close to the ground. 99% of the time, and even for the purpose of your RTR exam, they will be happening like really close to your ground. As you can see, it is either on the takeoff path or on the approach path. If it happens up in the air, it's called turbulence. It's called clear air turbulence. Okay. Any doubts? So let's have a call. Let's say, for example, Kolkata. Kolkata Tower, Victor Tango Alpha Bravo Charlie on 118.1. Windshear, support, intensity, moderate, time of observation, 1100. Winds variable, changing from 270 to 050. Standard. Guys, just take the format, change this. क्या किया बाद में आएगा, कहाँ हुआ पहले आएगा. Okay, just change the format. Winds variable changing from 0270 to 040. This is optional. Even if you don't give, it's okay. This is optional. This is extra. There's no such paper that you're gonna find anyone saying this. On approach path, runway 01 left, passing 1,500 feet, going around, initiating missed approach procedure. Instead of this, you can also say on takeoff path. Or you can also write it this way. Any doubts? Both cases are covered.
So
Tell me.
Kyago part is that one, right? Winds variable changing from 270 to
Yeah, that's optional.
040.
Kya hua? Yeah, that's the
So that's
kya hua part, but that's optional.
But that will be
Because
given in the
in-
question actually.
It won't be given in the question. Like it should be, but it won't be. I can tell you that.
Okay. So we can just skip that part if nothing is mentioned.
See, if nothing is mentioned and you think you can add some hypothetical data, add it. Else skip it. Don't make it extra. Okay.
टाइम ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशन में वो नहीं लिख सकते शॉर्ट फॉर्म.
लिख लियो. OBS लिख दियो. लेकिन TOO मत लिखियो. ठीक है.
इवेंट वेरिएबल वाला जो फ्रेज है वो ऑप्शनल है.
कौन सा?
इवेंट वेरिएबल.
हाँ, ये मतलब ऑप्शनल है, मैंने ऐसे ही डाल दिया. Why simply think now you're on the approach, okay? You are on the approach. And you're gonna tell him, okay, I spotted my winds changing from 270 to 040. No, you will not tell him. You will not tell him. At that point of time, it's a very, very crucial phase of flight. You are going to go around. You're gonna look after aircraft. Giving the ATC information is on the least priority. So this is optional. Even if you don't say this, no, it's screw this, bro. ऐसे ही मैंने दे दिया. ठीक है. Any doubts? No. Then we come to Microburst. Just let me tell you something about Windshear. Windshear can be two types, horizontal or vertical. मतलब क्या है इसका? कभी पता है मेट वेट में किया है हॉरिजॉन्टल शेयर तेजस, वर्टिकल शेयर पलक, डू यू नो? श्रीराम, व्हाट डज इट टेल मी?
Vertical windshear is more powerful than horizontal. Something like that was written in IC Joshi.
Okay. That's Jetstream chapter. Right? That is about the Jetstream chapter now. Talking about simple windshear, low level windshear. Not high level shears. What's written in Joshi is the rate of change of winds along the vertical extent in a jet stream is more than the rate of change of winds horizontally. But this has nothing to do with that. So, who all think that, okay, horizontal wind shear is basically winds are coming from the left, now winds are coming from the right? Who all thinks horizontal wind shear is this? Give me a hands up. No one thinks this. Palak, Ujjwal, Sriram. Okay, then what is horizontal wind shear? Palak, Ujjwal.
Winds get like deflecting completely opposite. Like there's this.
ये भी तो वही हुआ ना, winds opposite हो गई. किथे?
I can only see your screen in my video, so I can't see anybody.
चल ठीक है, मेरे को ये बता, आप ऐसे जा रहे हो. This is your flight path. This is the aircraft. Winds were coming from here. Then after some certain time, they start coming from here. Is this what you call an horizontal wind shear?
Probably yes.
Okay. Ujjwal, Sriram, why do you think no?
So vertical windshear, as far as my knowledge, will affect your.
I'm talking about
clouds,
horizontal. Vertical, I'm not asking.
which won't directly affect the.
But what is horizontal wind shear? That's the question.
Which affects the heading.
It
So
can come
vertical wind shear
from
does not affect the heading.
No, I'm talking about horizontally.
Okay, cool, got it. So horizontal wind shear will affect the heading. Vertical wind shear will not affect the heading.
It can affect, but it's not directly induced.
Okay, that's incorrect. Shriram, what do you think?
I think like the verga or something like it comes down and spreads out horizontally, right? Not that one.
Where are you going? What is wind shear? Write down the definition of wind shear. My goodness.
It's just the abrupt change of wind direction and speed, right?
It's asked in airline interviews. You just have to say these 5 fucking words. No one says these 5 fucking words. Any sudden change in wind speed or direction is wind shear. Write down. Where are you guys going? Why are you comparing microburst? What is Virga? This Shriram, don't do this in the exam. If you mention something like Virga to the DGC examiner, they're like, oh, Virga. Come, you're fucking with me knowledge, huh? I'll fuck you now. Come.
Those are high level things, no? High.
Virga is not high level, bro. Virga is not high level. Virga is low level. Low and medium level stuff.
वीरगा
What
तो
is
बहुत
Virga?
बारिश पड़ती है थंडरस्टॉर्म की.
It never reaches the ground, right?
Barish. अब ये cloud is still in the forming stage. So this cloud is still in the forming stage, but you have severe updrafts, severe warm air with severe updrafts. But air over here has reached so much saturation that it cannot hold any moisture, so it also starts precipitating, but it's still in the developing stage. In such a case, when you have precipitation, but because of the warm air rising upwards, what happens? It evaporates the water droplets and takes it again back up. So why does Virga show a lot of convective turbulence? Because there is water pushing you down and there's air again evaporating and putting the vapors up. Liquid pushing you down, vapors pushing you up. Liquid pushing you down, gases pushing you up. This happens in really, really cold places and like Leh Ladakh, at high altitude places. That is why, at these, hilly regions, you just cannot predict rainfall. It's because of these reasons. Tell me, what is wind shear? Sudden change in wind speed or direction. Period. What is horizontal wind shear? It has nothing. Acha, who all think vertical wind shear is you are getting a downdraft, now you get an updraft. This is a vertical wind shear. Who all think this? Anyone watches Friends?
What is what?
No one watches Friends. I also don't watch Friends. I got to know this yesterday. That something like this also exists.
Tell us.
Tejas will tell you. He has a lot to share right now.
You should not say things in the middle and just leave it as that. That's not ethical.
अब तो और नहीं बता रहा हूँ. अब तो तेजस भी नहीं बताएगा. गलत कर दिया यार ये बोल के. I'll tell it to you. चलो. So, what is wind shear? Sudden change in wind speed or direction. I'll explain it to you. Have a look. Let's say you have a runway and you're about to take off. So, when you're about to gathering speed, winds are generally from one certain direction. Okay, winds are pushing you from this direction, so your nose is to the left. Your nose is to the left. Now, understand what is vertical wind shear and horizontal wind shear. Wind shear when you're traveling in a horizontal direction and the winds change. When you're traveling in a horizontal direction and the wind change. So that means on one half of the runway, winds are coming from the left. On the other half of the runway, winds are coming from the right. So suddenly when you actually take off or when you rotate or even in the due course of, rolling for the takeoff, your nose, which was crabbed into the wind or one wing was low, it will start crabbing to the other side. For the tendency of the aircraft to crab from to one side will change and crab to the other side instantly with no piloting. That is because of a horizontal wind shear. You are traveling horizontally and winds change from left to right. Okay. Any doubts? This can happen in mid-flight also, right? Now, many people have this misconception of vertical wind shear. Updraft aa raha tha, downdraft aa gaya, it's a vertical shear. No. If you're traveling vertically upwards or if you're traveling vertically downwards, basically in the vertical direction, if you're changing your altitude, vertical wind shear is a result of altitude change. Horizontal wind shear is the result of position change. Okay. So let's say this is the runway again. You are coming for an approach, and it was like a really cold night. Low level fog came in, and inversion took place. What is an inversion? You have a really stable air here, which is not moving, but above it you have really fast flowing air, and this is very common in cold winter mornings in India. Okay. Inversions, everyone knows about this. Ujjwal, you must have seen this during flying. Palak, have you flown in the winters? No. Kabhi kabar aisa hua hai, you were coming in for an approach and your nose was cocked to the left and suddenly you pass a certain altitude and your nose like simply it comes straight or it simply goes to the other direction. I don't know how. Has it ever happened to you? No. Ujjwal? Right. It happens, right? And it is very significant on cold winter mornings, especially mornings. Even if not winter mornings it is significant. If you have a cloudless night, there's a lot of terrestrial radiation, it's bound to happen. A clear sky, a cold night will make this happen. What happens is basically when your aircraft is flying in a certain set of wind conditions as you are on the approach path. As soon as you pass this altitude, the winds change. So you're changing your altitude. ये दिल्ली में तो बहुत कॉमन है. दिल्ली में तो ये बहुत कॉमन है, होता ही है. So there have been many a times when you actually commence your approach and your nose is, let's say, above level winds were like this. Lower level winds are headwinds. So what happens as you keep coming down and closer, this, if you have all done met from Oxford now, this region is called the friction layer. This region is called the friction layer. And the friction layer is like very well separated from the actual geostrophic winds during the winters. Like this is like really fast flowing air. This is like really slow moving air. And winds veer as you go up in the northern hemisphere, right? Winds veer as you go up in the northern hemisphere. So above the friction layer, the winds are something else. In the friction layer, the winds are something else. And in cold winter mornings, the friction layer is like 600 feet, 800 feet, not more than that. Okay, the friction layer thickens with heat, with thermals. So I happened to actually fly in such a condition, and I actually observed. I was in Alpha Yankee only, and it was the first flight of the entire flying school only of the day. I was flying with my instructor, and the aircraft, like, it was coming like this, and below a certain altitude, 2,800 feet, it snows. Where did my aircraft go? It snows. We were coming like this on the approach. We were crabbed into the approach, and the nose became straight like this. Automatically. Zero winds. And we landed. Super stable landing. Again, you take off, you turn for cross, you end up overshooting the cross. Why? Because winds. Now you're coming on downwind. Downwind, you have to give a lot of heading correction. Why? Because you have high level winds up there. But now in the second circuit, after 7 minutes, in the second circuit, now the winds, this heading came back to zero at 2,900 feet. Next circuit, it became at 2,950 feet. We were observing this, and my instructor showed it to me. See, this will happen. And that is when I actually realized the importance of meteorology, that these things like the friction layer, they actually exist. See, air you cannot see, but you can understand what is happening around you. That was something we call a windshear. Very, very small, thing, but yeah, that happens. Okay, so this is vertical shear. When you're changing altitude, that's vertical shear. The first thing that you should do when you encounter wind shear, go around. Okay, wind shear, go around. Wind shear, go around. Approach पे कुछ भी होना पसीना आया, go around. Go around is a no blame policy. We had a really, really good instructor called Captain Nidis. Palak, have you heard of him?
Who?
Captain Nidis. Nidis, sir.
No.
So now, this person used to tell us, bro, if you want to even sneeze during finals, no, go around. Don't mess up your landing. If you're not confident, go around. If you're sweating, go around. If you want to pee, go around. Anything, go around. So I'm going to now start off with microburst. What is a microburst? Anyone who would like to share some information on microburst?
Sudden downdraft of air.
Very good. Sudden heavy downdraft of air. Where is it found?
Near the ground.
Near the
Ground. At a low altitude पे होता है ना microburst.
हाँ, agreed. तो हर जगह मिल जाएगा, ग्राउंड के पास नहीं ना?
नहीं, जहाँ क्लाउड डेवलप होंगे, जहाँ थंडरस्टॉर्म डेवलप हो रहा होगा वहाँ पे.
Okay. Any special type of cloud?
Seaweeds.
Convective.
Any convective. Towering cumulus also contains microburst. Okay. But if you have any convective cloud, see, microburst is usually associated with downpour of precipitation. So if you have a towering cumulus, it's a very simple thing. And so if you know MET now, MET is very simple. Cumulus, towering cumulus, this is the water droplet. This plus precipitation is called CB. Tejas. Dhyan hai na? And the same thing with precipitation and lightning is called thunderstorm. It's that simple. Aviation is this simple. We make it complex. वेदांत 2 दिन पढ़ा तो होगा मेट का चैप्टर
है?
2 दिन पढ़ा तो होगा मेट में क्लाउड्स का चैप्टर 2 दिन.
2 दिन में मतलब क्या?
एक दिन में तो खत्म नहीं हुआ होगा. एक दिन में तो क्लाउड्स खत्म नहीं हुआ होगा।
क्या चाचा के साथ? चाचा ने, हाँ 2 दिन तो लग गए थे। एक
बट
दिन
है
तो
इतनी सिंपल चीज।
एक दिन तो पूरी टेबल बनवाई थी हम लोग को, फिर उसमें फिर
ये वाली
जेट एयरवेज पर रेडबर्ड चले गए, फिर घुमा दिया फिर।
होता। So it's actually this simple. So माइक्रोबर्स्ट, जहां पर माइक्रोबर्स्ट है हमें रिपोर्ट करने का, खत्म है। क्या माइक्रोबर्स्ट? इट्स सडन हेवी डाउनपोर ऑफ एयर। इज इट अ लोकल phenomena? Yes, it is a local phenomena. How much is the radius of a microburst? It's a 4 kilometer radius of a microburst. Okay, anything beyond that, anything which is bigger than that is called a macroburst. Microbursts cannot be predicted, they can just be avoided by looking at the place कि भाई हाँ तुमको दिख जाएगा माइक्रोबर्स्ट है वहां पे। रेन, इफ यू हैव एवर सीन रेन फ्रॉम द एयर ना, दूर से अगर आप एक फ्लाइट से बादल को देख रहे हो तो आपको बादल देख के समझ आ जाएगा कि वहां पे माइक्रोबर्स्ट मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा। वो पूरी जगह ही अलग दिखती है, ठीक है। स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्टिकल डाउनड्राफ्ट्स मिलते हैं। नाउ मेनी पीपल से आपको पहले हेडविंड मिलती है, आपको फिर डाउनविंड डाउनड्राफ्ट्स मिलते हैं, देन यू गेट टेलविंड एंड द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द एयरक्राफ्ट गेट्स फक्ड एंड द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द एयरक्राफ्ट गेट्स फक्ड। कैन यू गाइस हियर मी? आई कांट सी यू। Yeah, I can see you now. Okay, great. Tejas, Palak. हाँ, ठीक है. So the performance of the aircraft gets fucked. Let's see how. Let's say you have a microburst and ये फैल रहा है ऐसे कुछ। अगर यहाँ से एक एयरक्राफ्ट आ रहा है, इस एयरक्राफ्ट के पास क्या है? Inertia. This aircraft has what? This aircraft has something called inertia. As it is coming closer and closer, he's traveling through the air around it at a certain speed. He's traveling through the air around it at a certain speed. Suddenly, this microburst happens and air pushes here. But he is traveling with this speed only. Suddenly, air comes and rams into him. Suddenly, his airspeed shoots up. Suddenly, his airspeed shoots up. Now, many people teach you, Vedant, Tejas, you have been taught before that headwind has nothing to do with aircraft performance, or headwind has nothing to do with
हेडविंड
indicated airspeed.
वो होती है ना, एक हेडिंग फैक्टर होती है।
Sorry, performance पे लेना देना है, but heading has nothing to headwind or tailwind has nothing to do with indicated airspeed, right? This has been taught to you. Yes, this is absolutely correct when you are cruising. But a sudden change in headwind or a sudden change in tailwind, a sudden change in wind has a really, really big effect on indicated airspeed. It has a really, really big effect on indicated airspeed. I want you to know this and ये दिमाग में डाल लो। अगर आप उस हवा में सेटल डाउन हो जा रहे हो बाद में, अलग बात है। Can you guys hear me? Yeah. So अगर आप लोग बाद में उस हवा में सेटल हो जा रहे हो, then your indicated airspeed over the long term will remain the same. But when we are talking about short term and you get a very, very sudden headwind, your indicated airspeed is bound to increase because your aircraft has some inertia. Okay, you will also notice this when you start your flying. You will also notice this when you start your flying. When you get a sudden headwind, a sudden gust, your aircraft shoot above the approach path. Correct, Ujjwal? When you get a sudden tailwind, your aircraft will drop. Just a sudden tailwind and it goes.
Did you ever
But-
experience microburst or a windshear?
Pray that no one experiences it. Windshear, yes. Windshear, yes. Oh my god, windshear fucked me. Like really, really. My aircraft like literally climbed 200 feet on a push. 200, 300 feet.
अरे तो ये जो अभी सिंगापुर एयरलाइंस का इंसिडेंट हुआ है तो वो विंडशीयर था, माइक्रोबर्स्ट था।
That was turbulence, huh?
That was turbulence, bro. 37,000.
बट टर्बुलेंस को तो हाई एल्टीट्यूड पे तो जेट स्ट्रीम होगी ना वहाँ पे।
Severe turbulence. Microburst कहाँ होगा? नीचे होगा, ऊपर होगा?
नीचे।
ठीक है? So now it will gain a lot of height, but after that time, if you don't recognize it, you will end up going in a severe downdraft and super low level climb performance because of increased tailwinds and downdrafts. Hope that you don't experience it. Now, if ever in the question paper you are told, bro, you have a microburst, simply make a report. Whatever I'm teaching you right now, just copy paste it and you're done. You're good to go. Okay? Microbursts are of two types. Dry and wet. डिफरेंस क्या होगा? वेट वाले में प्रेसिपिटेशन होगा, ड्राई वाले में प्रेसिपिटेशन नहीं होगा. खत्म. So let's make a call, and again you can get your microburst on the approach path or on takeoff path. What will be your actions? Approach path, go around, deviate. On takeoff path. Okay?
Pawan, when you were doing your simulator session, during the takeoff, did you ever have a situation where you had Windshear or Microburst?
Yeah.
So, yeah, both the takeoff before V1. Always.
Wait, on the takeoff run?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before V1 about takeoff.
Mm-hmm.
Roll up, please.
And if you have crossed V1,
if you go, bro.
That is Windshear escape maneuver, right?
You can't do any sort of maneuver that you're rolling for takeoff, bro. What kind of a maneuver you got?
No, after V1. Like
What are you
once
gonna do?
we there's something that like wings level and pitch 10 degrees and configuration change.
Yes. No configurations change. No configurations change. Sriram, can you hear me? No configurations change. This is in fact a memory item. This is in fact a memory item. Keep your pitch at 10-15 degrees. There is a target pitch attitude. Full, you add toga power. Keep your target pitch 15 degrees up, of course at rotation. And after you're done that, keep your wings level. It's not a maneuver. You just have to keep your wings level that close to the ground because you just cannot afford to bank. Okay. 5, confirm. Yeah. So, दोनों टाइप के माइक्रोबर्स्ट होते हैं, वेट, ड्राई, राइट. ड्राई हम लोग आधे टाइम हम लोगों को क्वेश्चन पेपर में मिलेगा नहीं. What we are going to study the wet microburst, and if it is a dry microburst, we'll take out the wetness from the coil. It's that simple. Sounds ajeeb, I know. Here it is. For example, let's say I'm coming inbound Lucknow, Whiskey Flower 0. Okay, and I'm on my approach path. I am on my approach path. Let's say Lucknow Tower, Victor Tango, Papa November Tango on 118.1. Experiencing wet microburst with strong downdrafts. Heavy rain, thunder showers, thunderstorm, lightning, anything. You just keep on adding stuff. Visibility reduced significantly. No, Keep the sequence. Lost height significantly. Visibility reduced. On approach path. Instead, say on final approach course, runway 27. कौन सा रनवे वहां पे वेदांत?
पता नहीं.
Passing 14,000 feet. Correction, 1,400 feet. Going around. Initiating missed approach procedure. Understood? Any doubt? Any doubt? So now, if you want to convert it into a call where you experience a dry microburst, just get rid of this, the word wet, heavy rain, thunderstorm, yeah, and then you're good to go. You just get rid of this. You have the dry call. Any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Now, this is all about Airprox report, Windshear, Microburst. Cool? Topic ends here. The last format. Tejas, any doubts?